of to
It is. I'm fine. It is. I'm fine. It's really a sad day for all of us as Kenyans, even the Kenyans in diaspora, the Kenyans at home. It is really sad because we have lost a lot of innocent people, and they have died because of insecurities. They have died because of there's nobody protecting them, and I think this is something that all of us have in the media have to talk about because it's really affecting every Kenyan.
Yeah, actually, I have seen it everywhere, and people may think that people in the diaspora have nothing to talk about it, or they may think that we are not affected.
We do. Actually, as a matter of fact, we have relatives, even if it's not relatives. You can never wish even your worst enemy the kind of death they got. These are innocent people who are around doing their own work, taking care of their families, and then they're just killed. We all care, and actually in diaspora, we even care than most people think that we do, and you can tell, you can see it in the media. Every time I turn on my computer, I look at Facebook, I look at the internet. All I see are those faces of the people actually who were killed, and nobody likes to see that. It's really, we have to do something. Before we move on, I just wanted to ask you, maybe you have to highlight our people. How many people have been were killed so far? How many do we know?
Actually, they still insist that those 48, and also they say is 10, a number of 58. But according to other reports, we are getting that there may be more people than 60 right now who have been killed. At the work of today, at the very early in the morning. We also, before we went off air last night, we said there was also another attack which killed 11 people, and thereafter we were told it's 15 people. And also, when I saw the security agencies were going to investigate, there is a place that they could not even go into deep the forest, and I hear still there are some people who were kidnapped. So we really can't have an exact number, but it's over 60.
Yeah, it is so sad because first of all, that's even if it's one person, every Kenyan needs to be protected because every person needs to live their life until God decides when to go. What else are you hearing? Because I'm hearing, I don't have facts, but I'm hearing that there was a warning before all this happened. Have you heard anything like that yourself?
I heard that the NSI said the intelligence services said that there was an early warning, and they had actually, from the statement, they say that the U.S. and the U.K. had withdrawn his people and having heeded to the warning. So I don't know why. If the warning was sounded, I don't know why nothing was taken into consideration. Again, my sister, before we even say whether the warning was there or not, I have seen so many people comment about the hurriedness, the rate at which the first speech that the briefing that the minister, the CS, gave, it was just like it was concluded that there was a known cause earlier before even the Al-Shabaab claimed the responsibility. At the same time, you see when the president himself came, he gave a statement before even maybe saying there is a commission or some people getting some inquiries. If we analyze his speech, it's like it is already concluded, and that means maybe according to the statement which he released, that means that it is something that was known.
Yeah, it is really sad because, as you said, there was no commission mentioned. They already made their own conclusions that they knew what was the cause, and actually later we understand that Al Shabaab are the ones who are actually behind all this. Moving forward, as Kenyans here in the diaspora and Kenyans at home, I'm just wondering, how are the leaders in Kenya gonna maintain security? How are we gonna make this better? And what are the ways we are, as people in the diaspora, how are we gonna contribute or help encourage our Kenyan leaders to create that security and protect our people? How are we gonna do that?
Maybe, Sister Pamela, before we even talk how it's gonna be, there are some things that we cannot go to conclude without maybe having a look at them. The MPs, they are alleging that there is a plot by the West to destabilize Kenya. And today I was looking at the 20 MPs allied to the Jubilee Alliance have alleged that a plot by Western countries to topple President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration, and they were saying that the West is sponsoring the dissident activities. That's one of the claim. And if you see one of the first address which came from the CS himself or Lengu was pointing a finger at some lawmakers, and actually I have the recording whereby he said that somebody was asking, are you refuting other claims, and saying maybe this has been caused by Honorable Raila Odinga, and he said that he is a book that the Kenyans have read, have heard, and have known. So according to his statement and according to the presidential address, that means they are linking him, the former prime minister, to all this. And given that the prime minister, former prime minister, has been here, you saw the reception, you have seen the political temperatures in the country, and what has been happening. So we really need to see some other issues, whether they may be carrying some weight. Is there any truth in that statement, or what concludes, or what brings up to this conclusion? You know, as we may see that there is something still happening. If we come to analyze, maybe we can know there is some reality in some place, or we can either say there is some finger pointing this time which is unnecessary.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing in that. And actually, as you have said, most of the government officials and some of the MPs, they are trying to point fingers to the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. I would honestly, I don't know, I cannot be judgmental, I'm not a politician, but the people who are affected in Lamu, the people who are affected, they were Kenyans, say, Jubilee, this is a CORD, this is a who. They were just Kenyans, if you understand, in our country, so that when they have problems like these ones, it's easier to deal with it than to just fingers.
You know, it's very unfortunate and sad, but unfortunately, the government at this point in time is trying to link it to Raila Odinga request for national dialogue and Israelis. And as we know, it is true the majority of the people that were killed, I'm not saying everybody, but the reality is, even though we don't want to say it, some of us, the majority that were killed are Kikuyus, and there are also other communities staying in the same area. And so if some people were saying, like I was looking at the social media, and somebody was saying that the Kikuyus were targeted. And also, they were killing the Al Shabaab Daesh has claimed the responsibility. So they know that maybe they know our president is a Kikuyu, and if they were trying to revenge on his people to compel him to withdraw from Somalia or to inflict a direct pain to him is a question to ask. And also we know what we already know is that too there is already political tension in the country, and the Al Shabaab they know that. So whether they are trying to cause animosity between Kenyan tribes so that we can go into civil war and have maybe a banana republic, yes, it's also another possibility. So they may try to cause animosity between Muslims and Christians as before we saw. So it is so sad, and we can really not know exactly what's happening at this time, because the Al-Shabaab say, yes, we did it, but the president of the Republic of Kenya say, no, they did it, they did not do it, this is politics.
Yeah, the thing is this, once a thing like this happens, what I know that the parliament has to meet, or the president, they have to have a committee that is going to investigate and know the truth about the matter. And I think that is one thing that we have, before even our Kenyan leaders conclude what really happened, they need to make sure that they know what really happened, because you cannot conclude with it within one day. You have to investigate and know. I remember I was just reading one of the journalists actually who was there, who was able to survive, was writing in one of the nation, and he said he stayed in the bathroom for almost 12 hours or so. And one thing he noticed, that the people were actually, there were Muslims who were talking, if they would come to the gas station and they would say a prayer in their language, whatever they call it, then they would not kill the person. But if they did not, they were Christians. That is why I honestly believe they had a lot of Kikuyus, but they killed also other tribes that were innocent. And that is why the Kenyan leaders have to come together as one and decide that enough is enough. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. We are killing Kenyan innocent people. And this has to be put to a stop.
Yeah, at times.
Yeah, I was just. I'm just sad, because this is really, it's really getting out of hand. That the Kenya we used to know, the Kenya of 10 years we used to know, is no more. It's a different Kenya. People can't even feel free to just go for a vacation there.
Yeah, and maybe before we go ahead, let me take one or two calls. I see people, the temperatures are also, it's a matter of national. Let me see, this is Alex Momanyi. Mr. Alex Momanyi, hello.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, we okay. Except you know what's happening. Maybe before you can comment, I don't know how we should go. We should conduct some things. Do you think it was too early for the president to conclude, or did you get his message as a conclusory remark?
Oh my God! I've just run in. I have not even gone to test my computer and see what is going on, what the president has said, what the rallies have said, and I have bigger problems than what they said and what they did at the rally and all that.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead, then we can come back to the question. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
One big problem I have is this. Somebody said about the East, and somebody said about the West. Somebody talked about the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, and somebody talking about Raila. But you see, at the end of the day, we are talking about dead Kenyans. They are neither Kikuyu, they are just Kenyans before you go to those labels. Now, the issue here is that we are refusing to see the reality. We are refusing to accept the reality. Now, the reality is all these people, and I'm counting Uhuru, Ruto, Raila, Musyoka, Wetangula, and all these politicians have been in government up to 1 year ago. Whatever is going on is not a surprise to them. It is a known fact that they cannot perform. If Uhuru doesn't perform, neither Raila performs. If Ruto doesn't know what he's doing, neither Musyoka or Wetangula knows where he's coming from and where he's going. They all come from the same government. They have been in government. Musyoka has been there for over 30 years. Wetangula has been there over 20 years. Raila over 10 years. Uhuru another 10 years. So these people know where the problem has been all along up to where we are now. So nobody should kind of jump off the boat and say, oh, you see, I'm out here, and they are in there, and they are not able to solve the problem. That is where I have a problem. That is where I don't understand. Uhuru and Ruto have been in the office for only 1 year. Let me leave that outside. Let me not even talk about that. Let me address the really major issue here. The big issue here is that the institution of the presidency. We are not talking about Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. We are talking about the institution of presidency of Kenya. It can be held by Raila, it can be held by Ruto, it can be held by Musyoka, and anybody else. They made a constitution which says and mandate and made an individual swear. Atailinda, ataitetea, whatever the circumstances, the Mungu amsaidie. We had one person sworn, not two. So when you find Kenyans, for whatever reason, running the street and saying, hey, this is our time to talk. You see, we had got out of the street. We put these guys in office. We told them, make the constitution that we will use to run Kenya. They made one. Raila was the champion, to push for the constitution that is working now. And suddenly they're saying, hey, let us dialogue. I wholly embrace dialogue. Dialogue is the best you can ever have. Because always two heads are better than one. But you see the issue.
I'm sorry to...
The issue here, when you go to dialogue in the street with the rallies, and then people die, how do you exonerate? How do you get yourself out of this? Because you know that is going to happen. We remember Mulale Chini and Kama envelope, the 90s. And then the rest of the 2007, 2008, we have not even recovered. We still have IDPs. And these guys were in the office. And now we have started, we have to talk. They have never told us what they are going to talk, but they have to talk. So the issue here, and I have said before, dialogue is normal, is fine, is accepted. But they have to make sense because these guys have cooked us. They cannot simply say, oh, it is Uhuru who cooked or it is Raila who cooked. All of them, they are part and parcel of the problem. So when we are discussing here in the diaspora, let us not look at Uhuru cannot run Kenya without the rest of Kenya. Raila cannot exonerate himself from blame for problems that are in Kenya. Because it's part and parcel as any other Kenyan to feel in his system, to feel in his blood, that you cannot go to bed in the night and sleep when there are people in the mortuary. It just doesn't work like that. Huwezi kuwa kiongozi wa watu wamekufa. So help us understand what the rally is about. Help us understand how the people who killed and have said they are Shabab, they are not actually the Al-Shabaab. They are the Raila team that had the rally. Give us the connection. Explain to us how that is connected. Don't drive us into this idea of continuing the fight. because then you are denying us the understanding that we are from point A, we are going to point B. You cannot run a country in public rallies. That is craziness. When you are elected, there is a constitution, there are policies that you people have prepared and have put on the table that have to be followed. The public does not understand that. You are supposed to understand. Tyler is supposed to understand. Who is supposed to understand? So when Tyler says dialogue, all of us say yes, and who will say come. You don't have to pick everyone people from the street and go for dialogue. You pick the team from whoever team you are in, and say 10 people, and who will come in with 10 people, let us meet somewhere. You have the money that you can print and go and spend. You don't have a problem. But telling us that you are calling for a dialogue as an excuse to create chaos, and we are still trying to heal from 2007-2008 wounds. And you are telling us, hey, if we were in the government, we will be saying, you are the people who are participating in healing. You are driving Kenyans crazy.
Mr.
We have to have the connection.
Yeah,
we have to understand where we are going. So the diaspora has to stand up and say, we don't want to see blood. That is a no. It doesn't matter whether it's Uhuru or it's Raila or who. We don't want to hear stories that this is where we are going.
Mr. Alex, I want to cut you short a little while because actually, that's the point I wanted. There are some claims. You see, the former Prime Minister has been here of recent. He was here for the last 3 months, and we have seen Kenya go to the instead of going to the west, we have seen where it is going. And somebody is claiming that maybe he was sent like a messenger to them so that they don't get locked out of the deal because if they are locked out, they are not going to benefit. That's one of the claims that is being tabled here. Another claim is a question to whether it is true or not. But then what you have just finished talking about the rallies. Having masterminded, as we know that many Kenyans know that the former Prime Minister has done a great part in the new constitution. So he should be in a better position to understand and even interpret it better than anybody else. So, and right now, he is not the official opposition leader. So somebody was asking, how can he call a national holiday whereby he's not president? At the same time, he knows the constitution how to follow. Was it difficult if the current president can call people who have never gone to parliament? They can go there and sit and dialogue. Was it difficult for him to get his team together and go to State House to sit down with the president to dialogue, other than calling the other rallies which may be raising the temperatures? What do you think, Alex?
Okay, let me say this. East or west, the fight over the resources or the natural resources, that has been true forever. It didn't start now. It has always been there. It's been going on. We have had people come here and ask who is well connected to the powers that be, either the president or the prime minister, who can influence a contract or a project or something like that. This is normal. This is the way the business people do. They want to see who carries the influence. That is understandable. But you see, the issue here is this, and I can give a chronology how this happened. During Kibaki's time, he was requested by George Bush to give some of the Kenyan soldiers to go to Iraq. And the Kibaki said, no, I cannot do that. I was elected, I cannot send young men to go and die in Iraq without a reason, because the other cabinet and all that is not going to work. In two, he was also saying, I think they wanted him to kind of send soldiers to Somalia. And he said, no. So from then on, all the support staff was closed. He couldn't get the financial that market that he needed. That is why Kibaki and the East. That was the genesis, because he did not cooperate. That's number one. Number two, Kibaki knowing, being the West educated person, and the way the West has dealt with Kenya all these years, the person who understood the way the West has treated us is Kibaki. He's been Minister for Finance forever. So he understood. This is what they do. You remember Takwel project. You remember the French project. You remember Anglo-Listing, Golden Bag. All this was Kenya and the West. This is not new. Okay. East has its own problem. Let us go through. We know they will have their own problem. Now, before we had Soviet Union and America, and so Moi was getting it easy because he was aligning himself with America. But once the Soviet Union was no more, Moi was thrown out of the bag. So this is actually the higher game out there. So what you are saying has some elements of truth. But that does not mean that we should sacrifice Kenyan lives for the convenience of the West or East. That is where I have a problem. We cannot sacrifice Kenyan lives for the convenience of the East or West. It has to. These guys have to wake up, because we have kids in the street, we have kids walking, innocent. They have a life in front of them. So we can't afford one or two guys turn around and play the games of the East and West at the expense of our life. That we have to tell them no. That's number one. Number two, if the West wants to do business with Kenya, they have to compete with the East. Let them apply like everybody else. Because then now we have a wider choice. We know who can do the job and who cannot do the job, because they are used to giving this 10%. Remember Anglo-Listing the other day? We said somebody is following the money somewhere. So the West coast have accepted that the Anglo-Listing, the fake companies have to be paid. Remember, that is the West. The East is going to also grow into that. So let us not leave it. That is out of our hands. What is in our hands are the lives of poor Kenyans. Mm-hmm. These are the issues. We cannot look aside and worry about what the West is getting from us and what the East is getting. We are talking about people who are being killed for absolutely stupidity. Just because somebody somewhere thinks that, and I am saying, if it means get the soldiers out of Somalia, send the refugees, send them to go even tomorrow. Get the soldiers out. What are we doing in Somalia? Do we have a reason to be there? Do we have a reason for the Al-Shabaab to come and kill the people because we have to have the soldiers there? Do we want to take over Somalia? Can somebody explain? Is that what the dialogue was about? You see, that is how stupid the whole thing is. What is the dialogue about? So the issue is get the soldiers out of Somalia. Somali refugees, they should go tomorrow. That is the problem with the UN. If the UN worry about it.
Oh,
so,
okay.
And then worry about next year these people don't come in.
Okay.
And for the politicians, those who have been there like Musyoka for more than 40 years, Wetangula is one of the best lawyers from Harvard here. And he started there, and he knows. He knows the constitution that we ran around and promoted does not allow Raila to call for a holiday. And Raila knows that. But no, he uses that. But the institution of the president, if it was, let me ask a simple question. If it was Raila who is the president today, as we are talking, would he really stomach the idea that Uhuru is calling for a holiday, people to go to Sabasaba holiday? This is simple. Would he stomach that? Is that what the institutional presidency says? Don't take us for a ride. We understand this.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Momanyi. I'll come back to you later. Then, thank you so much. We are listening to AGRFM. Listeners online are saying, "Does our country have the intelligence? And if so, what did they do? And where were they when this happened?" I want to read his last quote here. The second finger of blame he pointed at his own security officers, especially in Lamu, who he considered received but failed to act on advance intelligence brief on the impending attack. If I quote him, he says, "It is now clear that intelligence on this attack was availed to the security officers in Peketoni. Unfortunately, it did act accordingly." That is President Uhuru Kenyatta saying, and he added that this negligence and abdication of duty and responsibility is unacceptable. Let me go to Mr. Magaki Franklin. Hello. Are you there?
Hello.
Yes, are you there, Mr. Magaki?
Yes, I'm here.
What is your take on this?
I think I will take a different view from the caller who just left. I think the first thing is, the responsibility of protecting Kenyans rises squarely before the president. He is the commander-in-chief. He has all the instruments of power. He is the one who is given the powers by the Constitution, and he swore to protect all the Kenyans.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not the politicians played a role into these, heinous acts of killing of the Kenyans, for me, it's the president who is squarely to blame. He has the intelligence. He receives daily briefings about the intelligence of, the ongoings all over the country. And so the question should be, what did he himself know, when, and what did he do? He's the commander-in-chief. Let's remember that to begin with. I mean, for those of us in the U.S., if something of this magnitude happened here in the U.S., we would not be blaming the Republicans. It's Obama who would be blamed. Everyone would be going around accusing Obama of failing to protect the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we should be questioning whether Raila did this or not. It's up to the President Uhuru Kenyatta, to have put in place measures and the structures to be able to control the opposition from running the country amok, if at all that's what they did. Two, I actually take a different opinion that what happened was because of the rallies by Raila. I mean, there is a statistic. I mean, let me talk as a statistician. There is, a probability that, yes, they could have played a role, but I think a larger probability is that those rallies had nothing to do with anything. It's just that it's coincided. The reason I argue that, when we were bombed in 1998, we didn't have political rallies by Raila. When there was Westgate, we never had the Raila rallies to bring about the Westgate. When we had people, passengers dying in matatus in Nairobi because of the bombings, Thika Road, it wasn't because of Raila and the rallies. These things had been happening. It's the government and the president that have systematically failed in their duty to protect the Kenyans that they swore to protect. How is it possible that the intelligence, if at all they had the intelligence, they are saying, they failed even to convince the president that the magnitude of the attack that we are thinking would be to a scale that would Raila and the group. Effectively, what Kenyatta is doing inadvertently is just saying, the Al-Shabaab people are innocent. And yet these guys have gone ahead. And they themselves have acknowledged and have owned up to the attack. In fact, if we go back, if you watched the news online and read the newspapers, you would have seen the victims' accounts, first-hand witness accounts, the journalists, the victims themselves. They were describing people who were speaking a foreign language, which most likely was Somali, and they didn't know even how to speak Swahili. Now, they were read by some white person. They said something like a white person. So, all the evidence is pointing towards foreigners. Now, how is it possible that politicians like Raila and the others who do not control any instruments of power and security could, for some reason, be able to go to Somalia, hire thugs, bring them to Kenya without the knowledge of government that has got all the resources available to them to have detected this? it just speaks of a failed government, a failed president, someone who has failed to do his duty and seeking to shift his blame elsewhere. He is the commander-in-chief, and they should not be blaming anyone. Two, I think that I insist that the president is being misled by people who have failed to do their duty and who are seeking to deflect attention elsewhere. He should start by questioning the police commissioner. He should start by questioning, for some strange reason, I don't understand the wisdom and the intellect that informed his decision to hire someone who was in the hospitality industry to come and head a critical ministry that is supposed to protect the Kenyans. I have never understood. Two, let's look at the way the attack was happening. These guys had, guns, high caliber guns, they had grenades, and the manner in which they carried the attacks, you would almost think they had some kind of military precision. Now, you want to tell me this was the work of a politician who had some gangs who were trained with grenades and everything and operating with some military precision? I mean, it speaks to some kind of Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab that has got some kind of formal training. Still, again, let's go back. How was the president and his security machinery unable to detect such a planning and execution? Even if he claims Raida, he should have stopped Raida. Raida does his card. I mean, it's the president who is the commander-in-chief. He heads the military. He heads the police. He heads the CID. He heads the NSIS and everything he has at his disposal. So for me, I think the statistical probability that the political rallies were the explanation why this happened, for me, sounds so remote to believe. And Kenyans should actually ask themselves if they have a president who is capable of protecting themselves. He has chosen to trust the information from his own tribal chauvinists, and he doesn't want to listen to any kind of objective and informed argument. His own intelligence people, if you can remember, Mr. Ntiri, actually themselves blamed the Al-Shabaab. I didn't understand at some point where the theory changed and the politicians came in. If you remember from the beginning, the intelligence chief and the police and everyone were blaming it on the elements of Al-Shabaab. That was the first statement by the people on the ground. Then when it came to the president, and in fact, for some strange reason, there is this guy called Moses Kuria. He wrote some things on his blog. I read them. And when the president was reading his statement, I almost thought he picked everything verbatim from Moses Kuria's blog. So, I mean, you can tell where everything was headed. So, but still, the park stops with the president. Two, yes, it's true that the people who were killed at Mupeketoni, most of them happened to be Kikuyus. But let's also remember how Mupeketoni settlement scheme came about. It started by the first president, trying to look for a place to settle some people who had displaced, and the majority of them by then were Kikuyus, right? That's how the settlement scheme started. Mm-hmm. Now, what happened is there are more Kikuyus in that island than in that place than the other tribes because of the historically how that thing started. So that chances of randomly picking on someone to kill are higher to pick a Kikuyu because they are the majority people there, right? Simple statistics. If there are 100 people somewhere and there are only 2 people somewhere, you randomly pick on someone, it will happen to be the majority people. So it will seem at the face value that the Kikuyus were targeted. But we also fail to see that they may seem that they were targeted, but it's because they are a majority, and so chances that someone would have randomly shot at someone who eventually turns out to be Kikuyu is because historically Kikuyu were the majority people who occupy those places. But then on the other hand also, we blame the opposition for having been speaking about, tribalism and others. If speaking about tribalism is a crime, then honestly, even those ones who have disclaiming, have been appointing people on tribal grounds, displacing others from other tribes, they equally share the blame. If speaking about the tribalism is a crime, systematically hiring on the basis of tribe is also equally a crime, right? So I think for me the bottom line is, let's actually think the way the Americans think. It is the president who, by the end of the day, takes responsibility for the failure. He is the one who appointed the cabinet minister. For some strange reason, if Mr. Ntiri, you realize, the cabinet minister for internal security, Orerenko, and the cabinet secretary in charge of defense, Rachel Mamo, In fact, do you ever hear about Rachel Mamo lately?
No.
Don't. Now, that's the person who's appointed to be the head of the military, right? These people are unable to control the military leadership, or the rank is unable to control the police themselves. You know, the police echelons and the tribal chauvinism, they are so strong for him to control. So effectively, the president had appointed someone who is unable to control the instruments he is himself supposed to control, so that he would protect the Kenyans. That's where the whole problem started. We might start people, you know, we are blaming the West.
Yeah, I want you to wind up so that we can also get some other comments.
Yes, I'm winding up. Lastly, is let's not blame the West, Mr. Ntiri. The reason why I say let's not blame the West has done all sorts of things for Mugabe. Have you ever seen killings in Mugabe's country? He's been able to protect his people. All these other things are all excuses. The President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, takes all the responsibility. All the others, we are just spectators. Thank you.
If you look at the article we wrote on Mpeketoni attacks, one of the questions was that the Al-Shabaab has claimed the responsibility. They know our president is Kikuyu. Were they trying to revenge on his people to compel him to withdraw from Somalia or to inflict a direct pain to him? This is a question to answer. I don't know what you think, but I want to read one of the statements that the President of the Republic of Kenya also talked about today. He said they are aware. So the report was given. So that's what I said, that this negligence and abdication of duty and responsibility is unacceptable. So he says that it is now clear that intelligence on this attack was availed to the security officers in Mpeketoni. Unfortunately, the officers did not act accordingly. That was his speech, his statement today. But also, even as it goes on, I will quote some 2-3 individuals like now the MPs, Minor Commander of Starehe, Richard Itongi of Nyaribari Chache, Francis Waititu of Juja, Kimani Ichung'wa of Kikuyu, Kareke Mbiuki of Mara, and Njoroge Chege, Kasarani Bernard Mutura of Makadara, and Embakasi West MP George Theuri accused the West of sponsoring decided activities. But I want to quote what Mr. Theuri, the Embakasi West MP George Theuri said. He said it this way: it looks like Raila came with some magic for tribal incitement that to cause chaos from U.S. We cannot sit and watch what is happening to go on. We want God to know that the elections were held last year and President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto won. It is time to accept this reality and move forward. What is your take on the current security situation in Kenya? 91971. This is Juvenari Somburo. Hello.
Yeah. How are you?
We are okay. What is your take on this matter?
Yeah. First and foremost, I also appreciate for all those who have contributed, and particularly the families who have lost their beloved ones innocently. They have made death which was not even planned. Many families have been left without parents simply because of a government, because of the irresponsibilities of some individuals. For instance, when we talk of insecurity in Kenya, imagine in Kenya, this is where we expect to get security of the highest order, in the sense that we have been given all the facilities by the West. That's why even the West are using Kenyans with our soldiers to go to Somalia and even to see how they can be able to bring Somalia into government. But the problem is, when these happenings were happening, we find that there was intelligence on the ground. And through this intelligence, they must have realized that these things are going to happen. The warnings have been given. The United people were able to remove their people. The USA the same. And if these people were able to remove their people, what could have happened with our people on the ground, our intelligence on the ground, which means they knew that what was happening. Okay, the government, if these people, if they call them the Al-Shabaab, are the ones who went all the way to the police station, killing the police, panning the vehicles, taking all the weapons to go and kill our innocent people. The people who are supposed to be protected, the people who are supposed to protect are killed in their own motherland, in our own land, in their own land. Where were these security people? Another point again we need to think about. When I used to see the president, the former president, Daniel Arap Moi, he had intelligence to all levels, right from the dislocation up to the provincial, even to the national level. And this is the people who used to work hand in hand with the president. That's why even he managed to rule for the 24 years he ruled. And if this is really what is happening, why could these intelligence people inform the president and then they take the precautions? People have been killed. Now we are blaming each other. When we go to the press and they say that this one, it is not Al-Shabaab. The Al-Shabaab people, they have already confirmed that they are the people behind it. Then we say they are not, it is Raila. Do we have that report? Do we have that evidence? And evidence is there. Why can't this Raila be prosecuted and brought into the justice if they have that touchable evidence? Instead of blaming one another while the people are dying, we never know what will happen. We don't know even the next target. We don't know who will be next. When our people, like now, most Kikuyus have been killed. Not all Kikuyus are benefiting from Uhuru. Some of them, they might not even know Uhuru, but they have been killed simply because they belong to the group or to the tribe. So what I'm trying to put across, my dear Kenyans, wherever we are, there is a problem in our country. When a nation is divided, the enemies will always just find it very easy to break it into pieces. If we could find a way, even in your own home, if you have a problem with your family or with your wife or children, you need to sit down and find out what is the problem. Who's causing these problems? If you are the father, you are the one causing the problems, look for the solution. But if you say that I'm the head of the home, there is nothing I want to listen, okay, remember your wife is the one who's cooking for you. She will never cook. And if she cooks, she can just hand over that food to you, but you can't eat it without peace. You cannot eat it because there's no peace. Therefore, if there is a way they can sit down and so look for a solution towards the insecurity, we don't sleep. All the time, whenever we get phones from our families, we are scared. Maybe our children have been attacked, our families have been attacked. We are not scared. We are not at peace. So I'm appealing to the government of Kenya under the leadership of President Kibaki, Uhuru, and Ruto to rethink. There are also some careless remarks some people make. And those careless remarks, you never know the impact until you see the reactions much later. When the president took over, Uhuru Kenyatta, when he took over, then there was a remark made by some of the people from his tribe, that we can do without America. Let's go to to China. We can do without America. United Kingdom, they withdrew their support. America also withdrew their support. Now, the life in Kenya is horrible. things have gone. They are too expensive. You can't meet. They cannot afford even a bread. They can't afford. While a few individuals can afford, but the rest, they are dying. People are going to, some are dying, they have no even medical facilities simply because we said we can do without realizing that if you have today, there's someone who doesn't have. But we come up and we say, oh, we can do without these people, whether they help or they don't, we don't need their help. Here now, our people are really hit. So, unless we go back to God, Kenya has been an island of peace because they have been realizing and recognizing the voice of God. But the moment they realized, the moment they left God, the moment they have started following or worshiping other gods beside our living God, we are going to see more problems in Kenya, and then unless we go back to God.
Thank you.
Unless we go back. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Juvinaris from Seattle, Washington. Thank you so much. You're listening to AGRFM. And we are concerned tonight about the security detail in Kenya and what is all over the social media, what is all over the speech. Everybody is talking about what is happening in Kenya. Now, I'm going to ask you a different question. What do you think should have been done? We have seen, I don't think there is anybody answered the first question. Was it too early for them to conclude? And somebody talked what I wanted online because he said that somebody is saying here that we are happy. Actually, was quoting Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, who told an international television channel, according to the standard, that we are happy we finally have someone who knows or who identify of people who have been killing Kenyans, and we are now waiting for them to be arrested because the government said they are aware of what has been happening, and according to what the State House in Nairobi said, the president cited evidence that the local political networks were involved in the planning and execution of attacks, and that the incitement played into the opportunistic networks of the other criminal gangs. But I also want to take the last statement which has been given by Mr. Juvinaris, that when the family is divided, it is very easy for the family to fall prey into other groups. I'm going to go back to Sister Pam very soon as we wonder, but I'm also giving you time. I could only ask, it is not fair for me. I want to be fair if I cut you, or maybe let's be brief so that we can allow other comments. It's not good for me to tell you it is time because you may be offended. Let me go to Mr. Patrick. Hello.
Yeah, I'm good. What I could say is that, first of all, I would like to wish Kenya the best. God is there, and God will see us go through. Number two, I would like to caution the President of the Republic of Kenya. He's not going to suspend the police. He's not going to prosecute the police. They are not trained to counter terror groups when they have come. Theirs is to enforce the law. The only police they killed is the one who was in the office. The police law states that all guns have to be returned to the armory. They were sleeping. They went there, they killed that guy who was in the office. They burned the cars. The rest of the police who were sleeping in their houses hearing that, they picked up their underpants, they left. They didn't even pick up their phones. The president has committed a big mistake. He has to withdraw that is suspending the police and is going to prosecute them. We have the Attorney General and we have prosecutors who have to do that. Kenya is not a dictatorship government. It is an elected government. So he made a very serious mistake. The other mistake is just saying that he now knows that people who are doing this, he knows them. That is another serious mistake that the President of the Republic of Kenya has committed today, and he has to withdraw all those things. He needs to be advised of what to talk and how to talk and when to talk. The intelligence failed this, they were aware, and the intelligence is not, it is people from his own backyard. So you have to blame them first. You have to suspend them first and prosecute them first before he goes to the police who were at Mpeketoni. And the only guy who was in the office, he was killed, and then everything was just nothing else. The rest of them ran away. So Kenya is a developing country. To improve our security in Kenya, as God says, Jesus picked up 12 tribes, the disciples. The government has to be inclusive. The President Uhuru Kenyatta, has an exclusive government. He has people from this place, from Katoni. Who is there? Who is there? There's no point. There's no person appointed into the national government. Those areas, all those areas, the people are reacting against his government appointments. So the president must sit down and listen as somebody of God and know that he needs to have an inclusive government than the exclusive government that he has right now. That is why Raila is calling for the dialogue. That is what is going on. Raila said Sabasaba should be made a national holiday. He did not command. He only suggested because Sabasaba brought in changes in the government. He didn't say anything that it is going to be a national day, but he suggested it is the one which brought constitutional changes in Kenya, so that we should consider that to be a national holiday. Let these attacks not bring blames into Raila or anybody else without evidences. People take this and then they use it to attack, and then the blame goes to opposition. Let us act with love and humanity and stop all these blames, and the president himself is the one to blame. He has Kenya Army, which needs to counter this terror. No Kenya Police, no Kenya Administration Police. When Kenya went to Somalia, they went there for a mission. They are not going to come back before the mission is over, like another place. So mine is very short. I'm not going to be wasting a lot of time on the phone. I want to speak briefly, but you got my message. Police are trained to enforce the law. They are not trained to counter terror. Even in the United States, when those guys come, everybody runs away. I'm telling you, those police, call them now, the Pakaton police, they only picked up their underpants and they threw the window they left. I'm telling you. So the president should withdraw that statement that he's going to suspend them and is going to prosecute them. That is being a dictator. That is democracy. He has an attorney general. He has prosecutors. Mine is very brief. I'm praying for Kenya, and let us have the love of God. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Actually, there is anti-terror crew which comes in, and usually we see them being called in because not everybody that is taught how to tackle or handle some cases, and if the intelligence has already been involved and they already know, I don't know what to say next. Mr. Mori, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
My comment is that all those speakers who have said their views, they are right. Kenya is on a crossroad. It is a matter of blame game. They are playing those politicians over there in our country. The wise decision which they could make is to borrow information from other people who have gone under this kind of problems. We see now in Egypt, somebody who was a ringleader to push out Mubarak. Today, he was sentenced 15 years And in this statement, which Uhuru, the president of Kenya, has given, it is pointing the finger to an individual without any proof. As a head of state, you cannot just speak hopelessly and then tomorrow you change the speech which you gave yesterday. That's contradicting his mind. He should be fixed. He should have a fixed mind. And those people who are preparing president's speech, he's not the one who's making all this speech. There are special people who are earning money to prepare the speech for the president. These people will be accounted as the people who are giving wrong advice to the president, to point the finger to Raila Odinga. It was very early to say that this tragedy happened because of politics. Those people who sang that in the end, everybody will carry his own cross. We don't want to have a blame game because our people have been killed. And those people who have killed those people have come out openly saying they are the ones who have come to kill Kenyans. And I've found some Somalis who are staying here in the United States. They are saying Kenya is pregnant. One time it's going to produce a child. That's what Somalis, in their language, they are saying. Even in their broadcast radios, they say Kenya is in pain. It will produce a child. That's a very bad saying. And we have seen our MPs. They don't come out to support either Raila or Uhuru because there is a government in place. Those MPs are keeping quiet. They're just whispering. Sometimes we don't understand what they're doing. Fanya wengi hawachimbi shimo. We have got a lot of MPs in our parliament, and they're seated there doing nothing. This time, President Kenyatta could summon and tell the Speaker of the Parliament to summon the Parliament immediately without wasting time to deliberate this Mpeketoni accident. Some people have given views, very good views, how he could manage the country, but it seems Secretariat and the warlord will come to manage Kenya, and this will be a time when people will wake up and find one morning there is no government. Only Bunduki will run the country in the future. Thank you. May God bless Kenya. And read the book of Daniel, chapter 7. You will find the answer from there. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Morio. If you are not affected, at least somebody said if you are not infected, you are affected. And it pains when such things happen during these times. Omosongo, what is your take on this issue?
Good evening, Mr. Ntiri. Can you get me clear?
Yeah, it's so hard to say good evening, but we are surviving under the mercies of God. What is your take?
We are. I'm also condemning. Many has been said, and I'm putting my words in that Kenya is becoming a slaughterhouse. In not the leadership of Kenya system on their duties, they have failed. I'm not far away from my fellow Kenyans who have said their views on condemning the Kenyan leaders. I'm also on top condemning the leaders of Kenya that they have turned the Kenyan country to be the slaughterhouse. The entire leaders have failed their duties. It's honestly very shameful. It's a shame for a government with the leaders who behave like thieves, like pickpockets. They have seen their people, their boundaries are broken into, their properties are broken, their people are killed, and the leaders are looking and keeping quiet. The warnings have been given over and over. There's something going to happen in your country, and there is nothing. Where is security? If somebody was given this report, that the warning that something will happen, what did he do? they kept quiet. So the Department of Security is failed from the top, all the way from the president, the vice president, and the Security Department. They have failed. I don't know why they're fearing. I don't know what they fear when they hear there's a problem here. These are only corrupt leaders we got in leadership in this country. Not one of them should be left outside the box. They should be involved. All the pictures, they should not be left outside the picture. They are involved. No, me, I pray for Kenya. And even from the court, they arrested these criminals and they let them go because of corruption. Because there's nobody responsible. There's nobody who is serious on what's happening is not right. We have lost our lives, people, our people. We have lost the beloved Kenyans innocent. We have lost properties. We are losing, and we don't know where we're ending. Why will they arrest criminals and they lift them away? They let them go free. Nothing is being. The troops are in Somalia. What are they doing there? What are they doing in Somalia? They are leaving their country, dying, people dying. They are in Somalia. Why are they there? These pickpockets, robbers, thieves, they should calm down. They should not blame all Laila. Nobody. Those are foolish people. They don't want to be told the truth. They should not blame Laila on his way of saying of Sabasaba, you have to come together. He's right. Yeah? The police departments behave like crooks. They are even involved in this damage, in these lives of people have lost in our country. I am saying, sorry, Kenya is a slaughterhouse. God bless you all. Thank you.
Mr. Siago, what's your take on this?
Mr. Andiri and my friends who have come this great morning, we have no happiness in Kenya. We have no government in Kenya. All have failed. It's a shame when a leader of people can stand up and say he knows the reasons why these people were killed. He says it's political. So he knows about it and is in charge of security in Kenya, and he has done nothing. Because when he says he knows the reason and he does nothing, I'm telling you, it is so bitter. We are losing lives every day because of lack of leadership, lack of poor leadership. And when somebody is saying that this was involved, so and so was involved, blame games. Those people who died are not Luos. Those people who died are not Kikuyus. Those people who died are not Kalenjins. Those are Kenyans. When the Kenyans have died, and the people are pointing fingers, if there is anything, this government should be funded, all of it. When Ruto went to AG, MPs met within a short time and contributed millions to go to AG just to accompany illegal and evil people who killed people to go and defend them and give them support. But people cannot come together. MPs cannot come together in such a kind of crimes, in such a kind of calamities. But they can come out when there is corruption. They can come out when there's... So we are led by, as my brothers have said, we need prayers in that country. We need prayers, and this is a problem which started like when the Israelis demanded that they wanted a leader they can see, and they were given that leader, and that is they forgot the unseen God. Kenyans, they have forgotten the unseen God, and they have left their country to the dogs. And these dogs are now biting them. This is the problem we are having. These people are not coming from Somalia. They are not coming from Sudan. They are living in Kenya. They are not small things that we cannot see. They don't fly anywhere. They are in Kenya. We have special branch. What is special branch doing? Where we have the army. We have JSU. What are they doing in the camps? They are doing nothing. Because these people, they know we are being led by devils. Pray for Kenya, my brothers and sisters. This is a calamity. We can never buy life anywhere, in any shop. There's no shop in the world we can buy life. We are losing lives, and we are going to lose more. We have to put our knees down and pray for our brothers everywhere in the world. Thank you.
Everywhere I read the social media, I don't know whether Should they say this? Actually, let me go ahead and say something else. The leaders have called for overhaul of the security chiefs for failure to take action against well-known individuals whom they said are inciting Kenyans and inflaming ethnic tension. And unlike the West Mall Gate, where I saw everybody join hands to come together and preach peace, and this time I have seen people point fingers. I don't know if it will help. I'm going back to Sister Pamela. I have not given you time because you have not pressed one. If you wanted to talk, you could press one, and then I give you time to speak. Sister Pamela, hello.
Thank you so much. I've just been listening to our audience and our people, our Kenyan people crying because this is really, really sad. Whatever everybody has said, I'm supporting because at the end of the day, it is the president. The president is the commander-in-chief. He's the one who has to make the call. He's the one who has to make sure he protects his people. We can talk until our lungs die, but the truth is that our president has failed our people. He has to sit down and see what he has to sit with his MPs and all the people that all the leaders that we have elected and make sure that they protect our people. It's not something that happened only yesterday. We had Westgate Mall. We have our people blown in the matatus. This has to stop. And I think that I support all our leaders, all our audience, everybody who tuned in. And I know all of us are crying together because this is sad. This is a sad day for Kenya, but we will excel. We are Kenyans. We work together. We are going to come together as a community. And this is the word, this is the message we have to send out there, that all of us are Kenyans, all of us are crying. We should not divide ourselves. We should come together. This is the time we have to come together. There is no Kikuyu, there is no Luo, there is no Kamba. All of us are Kenyans. This is the word we have to send out there in the social media. We have to be our brothers' keepers. We have to see and know who our neighbors. We have to have a plan. And I think that we will excel at the end of the day, even if we are crying right now. That is what I have for today, Brother Ontiri.
Maybe before we wind up, there are some still, there are some messages just coming in. Somebody like now, let me see, Otieno Kajwang said something today that the president's statement that Al-Shabaab were not responsible for the Mpeketoni massacre and the insinuation that the Raila was behind the attacks was a plot by authorities to prepare grounds to arrest him. Terming the president's statement alarmist, Kajwang claimed that the government knows who are behind the attacks. And on the social media, just as we were talking, I see people are giving me some updates, though I really don't air most of the updates because we only air what is confirmed. But some people are also spreading the rumor that yes, somebody is saying that there is a plot also to have some leaders, and specifically the former prime minister being under house arrest, and some people to be taken to CID to record statements. But still, I've seen the church leaders condemning Mpeketoni attacks, and they demand an action. Even the Muslim leaders also came and they said that there is holes in the security system. They say action needs to be taken against the top security chiefs, according to the house team too. So there is so much going within and without, but a question still comes. Still, even as we went up, we don't know yet who to believe, because Al-Shabaab, they say they, and there is also another quote. Somebody was saying that while the Kenyans, I just want to, I want to look for it in just a moment as I read it directly, because yeah, somebody was saying, Yeah, I think. Okay, well, Kenyan security chiefs spend the whole day drawing red lines and bringing blame games. Al Shabaab were busy planning a second attack, according to Mr. James Macharia. And also, we have seen so much is going around in the social media, and nobody's happy. And I've seen even us, the commentators, even as the people on the blog, I've seen also pointing fingers to the president. And I don't know whether this time what we should do best for Kenya, even as we are also mourning and to see the best way for us to build our country and also to avoid further attacks. I don't know what is best for us at this time, but allow me to take two more calls, Sister Pamela.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. 405-209-5408. Hello.
Hello, Brother Rena.
Is this Lynette?
Hello? Yes, this is Lynette from Oklahoma. I just have to say one word before you close. First of all, I'd like to condemn the killings that are going on in Kenya right now, and not just the killings, but I'd like to just condemn the Kenyan leaders, especially the president of Kenya, because first of all, the president has the sole responsibility of protecting the nation of Kenya, but as we can see, President Uhuru has failed to protect the people of Kenya. So personally, I feel that he has failed, and he should not be pointing fingers as other politicians or other people, because when he was elected and when he was being sworn in, he was given the responsibility to protect the people of the nation of Kenya. And to me, he's totally failed to do that. And also, I'd like to say that he has not done anything. We've seen almost 5 attacks in Kenya. The president has failed to give us a step-by-step analysis of what his government is doing or is going to do to protect the people of Kenya. He has never prosecuted anybody. He has never arrested anybody. Even from the Westgate massacre, nobody was ever arrested. We never even got the findings of anything from that attack. So to me, that's a complete failure of the government and the president. And the thing is, this man keeps setting commission after commission after commission, but these commissions never give us findings of anything. And to me, he has failed. He should not point a finger at anybody, actually. I think that Kenya needs leadership. We don't have proper leadership in Kenya. And also, the president always is issuing careless statements. For instance, we've seen him blaming, Raila and political groups for these attacks. And that is after Al-Shabaab has already taken responsibility. And the whole world is watching. And that right there tells you that he's not a strong leader. Sometimes he just comes on TV and says, we don't need the West. When you are the president of a nation, you know very well we are a third world country. We need the West. He needs to work with the West. We've lost tourism. The other day he came on TV and said, we don't care about tourists from the West. We'll find tourists from other parts of the world. To me, those are careless statements that should not come from an elected president. I'm going to say one last thing. And I believe that a government that cannot protect or safeguard its citizens has no business being in power. That's just my 2 cents. And I think Uhuru needs to step up and protect the people of Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Lynette. And it's so sad, at times I feel like the the 1982 time when Lenny Mambo was in the studio, and then he started to do other things which he was not prepared to do. So it is something you cannot really outrule or say something is happening this way or that way. And I was watching Al Jazeera Network yesterday, and according to Al Jazeera Network, the Al-Shabaab, they claim the responsibility. And they also said, actually, let me see if I can get exactly what they said. Yeah. And then they were saying that they do not want anything to do with... They do not want to see tourists come into Kenya. And they also were stating that this is as a result of what has happened to their leaders recently. So when we look at what is happening around the country, and when we say that Al-Shabaab are not responsible, and they say they are responsible, then we stand to be told why and what's happening. And if we have been told that there are also some rumors, and there's also, according to the statement, if there is the source aforesaid evidence, then we need to know actually if indeed there is evidence and somebody is masterminding all these heinous acts in Kenya to kill innocent people, and then we cannot understand why we wait for so long until these things happen, and we are still doing blame games at this rate and at this time. So, Mr. Momanyi, I was going to take the last call, and Mr. Momanyi, hello. Alex, hello. Okay, Mr. Mori, you pressed one. Maybe you may be the last person to comment. Hello.
Thank you, our announcer. Well, I've been going through all our dailies in Nairobi. I found that the GSU has been deployed in Western Kenya, Kisumu, Kakamega, either in Kisii, and those places are quite peaceful. We do not see why they should deploy the GSU in those areas. And in Nairobi, I understand it's going to be under curfew. As people will go to on 18th, they will be under curfew at night in Nairobi. And this is dictatorship government which is going to take people for curfew. It's like military ruling in Kenya now. And because security leaders in Kenya, they are all from one tribe. That's why you find this breakdown. If we could get a mixture of many people from other tribes taking security apparatus, we could find something reasonable. Why is it that every time when one tribe leaves that position, he fixes his tribe second time? Even in the Kenya Central Bank, we have seen it has been monopolized by two tribes only. The Mukamba was put there, it was kicked out for a very short time. The historical injustice in Kenya is taking toll. One time, because you people, you were not born by then, the Queen of England gave Kenyans millions and millions of pounds to buy those lands of settlers, and it was called Commonwealth Development Fund. Which people benefited from this fund, which these farms which owned by the white people, when they left, this money went to one tribe only. If we are going to consider injustice and land problem, that is one reason why people are being killed. We have to say the truth. You cannot hide the truth, and then when things go bad, then you come to realize later. Let us see that all these problems are they are engineered by the land grabbers and those people in the coast. They are not comfortable seeing their grandfather's land being occupied by people from other regions. They call those people from in the coast. They are from Bara, up country, and they are not comfortable. That's why it is happening. If he wants to solve this problem, he has to go to those people and sit with them, Mombasa people, indigenous, and talk to them nicely. Even I've read in the newspaper, the MP in West Lamu is not from there. He's somebody from Central Province. He's the one who is the MP for Lamu. How happens? Those people, they are complaining inside. They don't show out. That's why you find all these problems are coming up. You cannot bring somebody from Tanzania and they give him the chair to become an MP in Kenya. Those people in Kenya will complain. That's one reason the announcer, people must know in Kenya, if he is going to declare curfew, it will take very bad impact. Thank you.
Thank you. We have come to an end of our tonight's program. And shall I go to Sister Pamela? We wind up, and I will borrow what the Kotu said. The Central Organization of Trade Union has asked the Parliament to review the law to empower the National Intelligence Service and to give it more power. So they are asking to give more power to spy agency, according to the Kotu boss. I will also concur with him because they tend to know things earlier, and they also sounded an alarm in which they do not have any powers according to the current constitution. So the Kotu office, the Kotu polls appealed that more power should be given to the spy agency. And also in other quotes, we have seen the ICTJ, the also International Center of Transitional Justice, has faulted the government for not efficiently addressing the plight of the victims of sexual crimes during 2007 post-election violence. And also there is another, what else was I saying? Yes, the Law Society of Kenya, has given the government 14 days to sack the Lengu and the security chiefs, failure to which they will go to court and follow the procedure according to them, what they say today. So the Law Society of Kenya says it will initiate a procedure to remove from office Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Ole Lengu and Inspector General of Police David Kimayo within 14 days should the two fail to resign immediately. And lastly, the U.S. government has condemned the attacks in Peketoni, Lamu, that has now claimed more than 60 lives. This is AGR-FM. We are also saddened about the happenings in Kenya, and as concerned the citizens of our beloved country, we say that this is not the time to point fingers. This is the time that we should be united than ever so that we can conquer together. Sister Pamela, what's your last word?
My last word is your last word. We should all of us be united as a nation. We know all of us are hurting. We know we are crying. But this is the time we just have to stop pointing fingers and try to look for a solution. As everybody has said, our president has to take a deep breath and protect the Kenyan citizens. This is what has to happen, because this has happened so many times since the Westgate, since the bombing of the Matatus. This is happening. No, the Kenyan government has to come up with a way of protecting its citizens, because he took office and he said he was going to protect the citizens of our country. So for me tonight, I'm praying for the president to step up and protect our people and protect our country, because this is really sad. If it means that he has to take his pride and ask for help from the West, whatever he's going to ask help from, we need it. We need help. We need intelligence. We need our people to be protected. But first of all, also, lastly, I have to thank everybody who has contributed tonight. This was a really very, it was really a cry for all the Kenyans. And thank you, Brother Ontiri, and we can see you next week.
Thank you, Sister Pamela. Thank you, everybody who took the wonderful time that we have had together, to mourn together, and to weep with those who are weeping, simply because the pain that has been inflicted into their families. And also,